Good morning, children. So I'm starting. You stay safely at home. So I'm starting the next chapter, calorimetry. Okay. Now, first of all, you should know what is the meaning of calorimetry. All right. Metric terms comes from measurement, and you learnt in our junior classes. Calorie is the unit of heat. So what is calorimetry? What is the meaning of calorimetry? The branch of physics that deals with the measurement of heat is known as calorimetry. Alright, I repeat, what is calorimetry? The branch of physics that deals with the measurement of heat is known as calorimetry. Alright, like that. The the branch of physics that deals with the measurements of temperature is known as the thermometry. So, what is calorimetry? The branch that deals with measurement of heat. Okay. So, first of all, we have to know what is heat. So, that also we know. Again, I am just reminding you. You know that if you consider a substance mainly made up of molecules. Alright. Now, every molecule they possess, their molecules are in motion. So due to their motion, molecules possesses kinetic energy, and you know that molecules they attract each other with the intermolecular forces. Alright. So due to this intermolecular force, when the molecule try to maintain its own position, then they gain another kind of energy which is known as the potential energy. So in general you can say that molecules of a substance possess kinetic energy and potential energy. Now this kinetic energy and potential energy together we call it as internal energy. Alright. Now if you consider the internal energy of all molecules present in a substance, that is known as the thermal energy. Alright. Now if you consider the substances, then different substances may have different thermal energy. So if you keep two substances in contact which are having different amount of thermal energy, then you will see that the energy will flow from the higher thermal energy to the lower thermal energy. Is that clear? And that energy which flows from a hot substance to a cold substance. Hot substance means they are having the more thermal energy, and cold substance means what? They are having less thermal energy. So when you keep hot body and cold body in contact with each other, then you know one form of energy, it flows from the hot body to cold body. So that form of energy is known as heat. Okay. Now if you consider heat, then what is the heat? Is nothing but a form of energy. So what is the SI unit of heat energy? SI unit of heat energy is joule. Alright. But joule is not a very big unit. That's why sometimes we prefer in our practical life to use another practical unit of heat energy which we call as calorie. Alright. And you know what is the definition of 1 calorie? It is the amount of heat needed to increase the temperature of 1 gram of water from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. Alright. Means through 1 degree Celsius. What is the difference between 14.5 and 15.5? 1 degree Celsius. Now, in case of water, why this temperature range is mentioned? Because for water, due to non-uniform thermal expansion, what happens? You may need different amount of heat energy for different range of temperature. So, just to specify a particular amount of heat energy, the temperature range is specified. Alright. And you see here what is the relation between calorie and joule? 1 calorie is 4.186 joule or 4.2 joule. So here I have summarized whatever I have discussed point wise. Alright. Now you need to learn all the points and remember. Okay. So you must note down all the points here as I have written in your notebook. And not only that, you must also learn that this is the concept of heat. Next one is concept of temperature. That is also not a new concept to you. All of you know what is temperature. That is the thermal state of a body which determines the direction of flow of heat between two bodies kept in thermal contact. Alright. You know that temperature, always heat flows from high temperature to low temperature. Alright. So temperature is the thermal state which determines the direction of flow of heat. Okay. Now, how we measure temperature? As I said, how we measure the heat energy? We measure the heat energy, the heat content of a body or the thermal energy by the total internal energy of all molecules present in the substance. Okay. Now, in this case, temperature is the measure of average kinetic energy of the molecules of a substance, is the measure of its temperature. Alright. So, if the kinetic energy of molecules are more, then the temperature is higher, and if the kinetic energy, average kinetic energy of the molecules are less, then the body is having low temperature. Alright. So you see, if you make you decrease the temperature in such a way that kinetic energy becomes zero. Alright, means the molecules are not at all moving. Molecular motion ceases. So the temperature at which molecular motion ceases is known as the absolute zero temperature. Alright, and you know that SI unit of temperature is Kelvin, and it is after the name of the physicist. That's why we write it as small k when writing the full form, and this is big K. And what is the relation between Kelvin scale temperature and Celsius scale? That generally for Kelvin scale, that is also known as absolute scale, we use the symbol big T. So whenever we use big T, means we are measuring the temperature in Kelvin scale, absolute scale. And when we use small t, it means we are measuring the temperature in degree Celsius. So how you can convert degree Celsius into Kelvin? By adding 273.15, alright, or you can approximate it as 273, means T Kelvin. If you want to convert degree Celsius into Kelvin, what you have to do? You have to add 273 with the degree Celsius temperature. Alright, and you know that temperature at which molecular motion ceases is called the absolute zero temperature. So absolute zero temperature, it is not OK, okay, it is 0K. Alright, this is 0, this is not O. That's why I have written, first I wrote it closer, then I wrote it separately, okay. This is 0 Kelvin, and 0 Kelvin is equal to minus 273 degree Celsius. Alright, so these are the main points, important points you are supposed to learn and remember for your board exam as well as for your concept of temperature. Okay, so please note down all the points. Now regarding the temperature, another point you have to remember that 1 degree Celsius rise equal to 1 Kelvin rise. Alright, means 1 degree Celsius rise equal to 1 Kelvin rise. So one can make this conclusion, change in temperature in degree Celsius is equal to change in temperature in Kelvin. This is also a very important concept in physics, alright. That if you consider only one reading, then T Kelvin is equal to T degree Celsius plus 273. But when you are finding the change in temperature, means you are subtracting two temperature. In that case, change in temperature in degree Celsius and change in temperature in Kelvin, they are equal. Because if you compare Celsius scale and Kelvin scale, then 1 degree Celsius rise and 1 Kelvin rise, they are equal. Okay, so this is another concept. This is the first one I have written that is related with the concept of temperature. So I hope the concept of heat and concept of temperature very clear to everyone. Now the next one is amount of heat needed to increase the temperature of a body. Alright. Now, what are the factors on which the amount of heat needed to increase the temperature depends? first one is the mass of the body. From our practical experience only, mass m of a body. Is that clear? Now, suppose you have taken a small amount of water and somebody has taken large amount of water, and you want to increase the temperature of both by 5 degrees Celsius. Then what your practical experience saying? Do you need same heat in both the cases, or you need less heat for the first case and you need more heat for the second case? Why? Because in the second case, amount of water taken, means mass of water taken is more. Alright. So this is our practical experience, that if the mass of the body whose temperature you are increasing, then if you take more mass, you need more heat, isn't it? So you see, you can write heat needed. Here I have written heat needed is Q. Q is directly proportional to mass when T is constant. T is what? Changing temperature. T is what? T is changing temperature. Alright. You can use T only. T is the changing temperature. Alright. T is what? Changing temperature. Means you are increasing the temperature of both the substances by same amount. Then you can say more the mass needed, more is the amount of it. Okay. Then next one is amount of heat needed depends on changing temperature T. Alright, it depends on changing temperature T. How does it depend? Just you consider this. Suppose you have taken two identical container and same amount of water you have taken. Okay, and for one case you are increasing the temperature by 5 degrees Celsius. In another case you are increasing the temperature by 50 degrees Celsius. Both are having the same mass. Then this is our practical experience, that more you want to increase the temperature, more you need the heat, isn't it? Means in this case, what you will see that Q1 is less than Q2. Alright. Now this part you don't have to copy. Okay. This part I am just writing for your understanding. So you see here, so this is the conclusion you can make, that Q is proportional to T. Means more the change in temperature, more will be the heat needed. In this case also, more is the mass, more is the heat needed. And in this case, when you are writing the change in temperature, then it is understood that we have taken mass same for both the bodies. Alright. Now, if you just consider both the quantities together, then what you are getting? Q is proportional to M into T. Okay. So you see, you can write that Q is proportional to M into T. So if you now replace the proportional sign by a equal sign, then what you have to do? You have to introduce a constant of proportionality, you know. So this C is the constant of proportionality. And what is C? This is constant of proportionality. And what is it? And what is its name? C is known as specific heat capacity of the substance or the material of the body. Very important concept in physics, in science. Alright. So you see what you are getting, that Q is proportional to M into T we have got, and Q is equal to some constant into M into T. What is that constant? Specific heat capacity. Whose specific heat capacity? Of the substance or the material of the body. Is that clear? So you see, what is the third factor on Q depends? Q depends on the substance or the material of the body. Is that clear? Q depends on substance or material of the body. Is that clear? Everybody has got? So what are the three factors on which amount of heat needed to increase the temperature depends? Mass of the body. How does it depend? Q proportional to mass. Then second factor, it depends on changing temperature of the body. How does it depend? Q proportional to T. Third one, it depends on substance or material of the body. How does it depend? A substance with high specific heat capacity needs more heat. Alright, just look at the expression. If C is high, then Q needed will also be more, also be greater, isn't it? So what you can say that a substance with high specific heat capacity needs more heat to increase its temperature. Alright, that you can write down here. A substance with high specific heat capacity needs more heat to increase its temperature. So you see, what is the first relation we have got in calorimetry chapter? Very important one. Q is equal to M into C into T. Alright, there are only few formulae in the calorimetry chapter which we have to use to solve the numericals. Alright, I don't know why children, they generally, those who are having the numerical phobia, they find it difficult to answer the numerical from the calorimetry chapter. For them, it is my suggestion, the theory topic, as I will say, that you must learn, everyone, those who are having the numerical phobia. So this is the first relation. You have got Q is equal to mCT, which we use to find out how much heat we need to increase the temperature of a body. Alright. Now you see, from this relation we are getting the concept of specific heat capacity. I am writing only specific heat capacity here, but girls, you know whose specific heat capacity? Whose specific heat capacity I said? It is the substance or the material. I have not said specific heat capacity of the body. Alright. Suppose you have taken 5 gram of copper and somebody has taken 5 kg of copper. Now in both the cases you see the substance is same, copper. So in both the cases specific heat capacity will remain the same. Clear? So this is the main concept, that specific heat capacity, it depends on the particular substance, nature of the substance. Alright. So we say that specific heat capacity is, whose specific heat capacity? This is the specific heat capacity of the substance or material of the body. Now look at this one, how you can get the definition of specific heat capacity. From this one you see, you can write C is equal to Q by M into T. Alright, so you see, when Q is equal, when M is equal to 1 and T is equal to 1, then C is equal to Q. Yes or not? Just look at that one. If M is 1, if you consider M1, T1, then what happens? C is equal to Q. So this one, when you write down in words, then you get the definition of specific heat capacity. So you just follow how you write. Specific heat capacity is equal to the amount of heat needed to increase temperature of unit mass of the substance by unit degree Celsius. Alright. So what is the definition of specific heat capacity? The amount of heat needed to increase temperature of unit mass of a substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin by unit degree. Is that clear? Amount of heat needed to increase temperature of unit mass of a substance by 1 degree is known as specific heat capacity. I will use the short form, okay? If you, and this is allowed. If you want, you can write down the full form, but SHC also allowed, okay? And the definition is very, very important for your board exam. Okay, so you must, everyone should learn it, remember it, retain it till board exam. Okay, what is the definition of specific heat capacity? Then next one is, what is the SI unit of specific heat capacity? Just look at this. SI unit of heat is joule. What is the SI unit of mass? Kg. Now it is in the denominator, so it will be part kg to the power minus 1. Then temperature. What is the SI unit of temperature? Kelvin. So it is in the denominator, so Kelvin to the power minus 1. So SI unit of specific heat capacity is another important point you are supposed to learn and remember. So again I am reminding the children, those who are having numerical phobia, learn the definition of specific heat capacity. Also learn the SI unit of specific heat capacity. So other units of specific heat capacity, you may write like this also. These are other units of specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity we denote by C. Okay. You see, you can measure joule, Q means the amount of heat by calorie, and then you can measure the mass by gram. You can measure the temperature by degree Celsius. So it will become calorie per gram per degree Celsius. Or you can measure the the heat by kilocalorie, then you can measure the mass by kg and temperature by degree Celsius. Alright. Or you can have joule per gram per degree Celsius, or joule per gram per Kelvin, or you can have joule per kg per degree Celsius. Alright. Although joule per kg per degree Celsius and joule per kg per Kelvin, they are the same. So these are the other probable units, possible units of specific heat capacity one may use. Alright. So what are the important points regarding the specific heat capacity? You have to learn and remember that the definition, it's SI unit. Alright. And specific heat capacity depends on what? Specific heat capacity is the characteristics of the substance or the material. Alright. When the substance or material are kept same, then specific heat capacity will also remain the same. Okay. It does not depend on the mass, it does not depend on the temperature, or neither it depends on amount of heat needed. Okay. It is the characteristics of the nature of the substance or the material of the body. Okay, these are the important point. Another probable question on specific heat capacity. Okay, means what is the meaning of the, this is another probable question on specific heat capacity. What is the meaning of the statement? SHC of water is 4.2 joule per gram per degree Celsius. Okay, this is given. So you see, this question, it is based on the definition of specific heat capacity. Alright. So what is the meaning of this sentence? You see, instead of writing amount of heat needed, you can write like this. What is the meaning of the sentence? 4.2 joule of heat is needed to increase temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Alright, this is the meaning of the sentence. Alright. Clear to everybody what I said? Means you will write, you see here, you are writing the definition of specific heat capacity only. But instead of writing amount of heat needed, you are specifying how much is the amount. How much is the amount given here? 4.2 joule. Alright. So, these are the probable question of specific heat capacity. Alright. Again I am repeating, it's a very important topic for your board exam, so you must learn it. Next topic is heat capacity. Now, when the term anywhere specific will term, then it relates with unit mass. Okay. Now, when it is heat capacity, it means the same concept only. Instead of unit mass, you may take any mass. Alright. Means you may take the entire body. So, what is heat capacity? Amount of heat needed to increase the temperature of any mass or a body by 1 degree Celsius. Alright. So, how you can write? What is heat capacity? Amount of heat needed to increase temperature of a body means within bracket you can write any mass. The body may have any mass, not necessarily. Just like specific heat capacity, unit mass needed. Okay. Temperature of a body by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Okay. That is known as heat capacity. Now you see what will be the expression for heat capacity. Very simple. You see here, according to the concept of specific heat capacity, for unit mass, amount of heat needed is C. So for m amount of mass, how much heat is needed? M into C. Is that clear? So what is the expression for heat capacity? M into C. Again we know that Q is equal to M into C into T. So you see M into C, you can write it as Q by T. So this expression you must remember. Is that clear? What is the relation for or expression for heat capacity? Heat capacity is given by mass into specific heat capacity, and it is also given by Q divided by T. Alright, so if anybody asks you what is the relation, this is also another important question for board exam. Relation between specific heat capacity and heat capacity. Very simple relation. You see what is the relation? That heat capacity is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. Alright, so these are all important points. Then next one, what is the SI unit of heat capacity then? You see, what is the SI unit of heat capacity according to this relation? Q is Joule and T is Kelvin. So what is the SI unit of heat capacity? Joule per Kelvin. Okay, so these are the important points one student supposed to learn and remember for her board exam. So you too learn it. So this topic I forgot to discuss after discussing heat and temperature, that what are the differences between heat and temperature. So easily you only can summarize, but still I have done my duty that I have also written it. Okay, so what is the first point? Heat is the what you can see, say what is heat? Heat is the amount of energy that flows from hot body to cold body. And what is temperature? It is the thermal state which determines the direction of flow of heat between two bodies kept in contact. What is the second point of difference? What is the SI unit of heat? SI unit of heat is Joule, whereas SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. Then how we measure heat? Heat is measured by the total internal energy of the molecules present within the body. And how we measure temperature? The average kinetic energy of the molecules present in the body is the measure of temperature. Alright. Then how we measure heat actually? Okay, in practical cases, how we measure heat? We measure heat, that I will discuss later on, by using principle of calorimetry and by using one apparatus that is known as calorimeter. And in case of temperature, you know thermometer is the device by which we can measure temperature. Alright. Now, heat is additive by nature, whereas temperature is not additive. What is the meaning that heat is additive by nature? If you keep two bodies in contact, just you consider my hand is one body and this is one body. I am keeping them in contact. So what is the total heat? Total heat will be sum of the heat of the two individual bodies. Means sum of the heat of the first body and the heat of the second body. That is the total heat content. But suppose you have kept the two bodies which are having different temperature in contact. Alright, then you will see what will happen to the temperature of the hot body, it will decrease, and what will happen to the temperature of the cold body, it will increase until and unless the two temperature become equal. Alright, so if you consider the resultant temperature of two bodies kept in contact, then you will see that resultant temperature lies between the two temperatures of the body. Okay, so these are the differences between heat and temperature. Alright, 5 points I have noted down. So you must learn all the 5 points noted down here. Okay, this is also another important theory question from this chapter. There are 2 probable questions on this topic. The differences between heat capacity and specific heat capacity, that also you may note down yourself only, as you know everything about heat capacity and specific heat capacity. Still I have noted it down. So what is heat capacity? Amount of heat needed to increase the temperature of any mass or the entire body by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. And specific heat capacity is the amount of heat needed to increase temperature of unit mass. That's why you see I have written to increase temperature of unit mass by 1 degree, and here it is entire body. Then what is the SI unit of heat capacity? Joule per Kelvin. What is the SI unit of specific heat capacity? Joule per kg per Kelvin. Heat capacity depends on the mass of the body. Okay, it depends on the mass of the body. You have seen heat capacity is m into c. So it depends on mass of the body, but specific heat capacity does not depend on mass of the body. It is the characteristics of the substance. And here these are the 3 points of differences between heat capacity and specific heat capacity. Then another probable question on heat capacity, that you may not get the direct definition of heat capacity, or you may get the question like this: what is the meaning of the statement? Heat capacity of a body is 500 joule per Kelvin. So as we have done for specific heat capacity, here also how you can write that 500 joule of heat is needed to increase the temperature of the entire body by 1 Kelvin. Means in the definition, instead of writing amount of heat needed, you must write down specifically how much heat is specified in that particular problem. Alright, so that these are whatever each and every point I have discussed today in this lesson. It is very, very important for your board exam. So once again I am reminding you children that those who are having the numerical phobia, please prepare the theory part so that you can answer the question from the common part. You know that compulsory part is there. In the compulsory part you may get all the questions, means all the points. You may get questions on the points that I have discussed in this lecture. Alright, thank you girls.